my God. I finished, well, I think I still need to do the back part, but I finished that bikini top I was telling you guys about. I wonder if, like, I'm gonna have to make straps for the back. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make back straps for it. But I made this bikini top, and it's like it's rainbow, but it's like a earthy rainbow. How cute is that? And it is a curly Q, because that's just how crochet do. Isn't this cute? I would try it. I would wear it right now, but the straps aren't long enough in the back, so I have to like make back straps for them. So. I thought that was a kitty cat. She's looking for me. Ow! Just fucking clobbered myself in the head. On top of spaghetti, all covered with cheese, I lost my poor meatball when somebody sneezed. It rolled off the table and onto the floor. And then my poor meatball rolled right out the door. Why is my new shoes ripped off? How's that even possible? Ah! His car is leaking. His new car that he just got, he only paid $900 for it, so like obviously it's a junker, but he just opened the trunk. He's trying to find an oil leak. You know, he's trying to find the source of the oil leak, and like so that he can, you know, drive it and have an idea, you know, when it's not safe and stuff. He just opened the trunk and he just realized that the oil is leaking up through the trunk. So that's interesting. All right. Shooby-dooby-doo-boop-boop. This actually looks really good. Wow. Did it give us a tongue scraper? Tell me it gave me a tongue scraper. If it gave me a tongue scraper, I will literally be so happy. A solid metal one. No way. And you can put the oil in here and keep it up against your teeth. A fucking metal tongue scraper? Are you kidding me? And then it has another toothbrush with a case on like a special case or whatever, carrying case. Oh, it even has a dosage thing on top. Dude, this is badass. They really thought of everything. Another tongue scraper. I can give a tongue scraper to Josh and Elliot. Oh, thank God. I got another tongue scraper in here. No way. What is that? Oh my gosh, do you know what this is? This is a fucking toothpaste key. So that you get every drop out. That is a badass tube of toothpaste, man. And another solid metal tongue scraper. Dude, that's cool. All right, we'll worry about that later. Two-chamber activation. Do you remember that old toothpaste back in the day that had the white and the gray or the blue? It had like two, and it was in a container similar to this, and you pushed down on the top and it like dispensed it. Does anybody remember that toothpaste? I haven't seen it around, but the bottle looked a lot like that. Okay, so we've got an odor neutralizer and a breath freshener. So this formula uses stabilized chlorine dioxide, which offers malodor reduction benefits. Our essential oil mouthwashes the clear chamber, helps to promote fresher breath. When combined and swished in the mouth together, it targets bad breath, odor-causing bacteria, neutralizes oral malodor, and provides lasting freshness. Cool. Oh, I'm so excited to come back and brush my teeth. My twofers. All right, let's go get on the roof. I got enough battery. Yep. Where's my tablet? I want to listen to a podcast. Yes. Also not dead. It's a little bit chilly. Not really a fan of the short sleeves. Woo! The sun like right in my eyeballs when I looked up. Jeepers.
Oh boy, RFK Jr. definitely didn't hold anything back when he called the fat governor of West Virginia fat. I said, you look like you ate Governor Morrison. And he's...
All right, guys, happy Thursday. I wanted to fully jump in back into the JFK files. We are going to get into that a little bit because we only just began last week, Thursday. You guys loved that episode, and we've been doing some digging since. But pause for a second because holy heck, the House of Habit drama, Jessica Reese Krause, that escalated very quickly. I don't know what actually happened. If you are not on Instagram, there is an absolute hot mess of a back forth going on that nobody expected would arise when I simply responded to her Substack about me. I thought I was quite even about it. I don't know. But the more important thing here to discuss is just the world of influencers in general, because what happens exactly when the influencers get influenced by somebody else, by some money, who knows? We should chat about that, so let's jump right back in. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, so we're supposed to be entering a world that is new, it's fresh, it's independent media, and corporate media structures are dying, legacy media is dying, and by and large, I definitely think that we're getting there, and it's great. It's been great to see so many independent people pop up, start platforms, do their own research, and just kind of like break the entire racket of the mainstream media. And what's really interesting is I don't know that we've necessarily paused to consider that even with people appearing to be independent, there could be this possible infiltration by the same people that we were trying to break away from. And something that happened recently really exposed that plausibility. So I don't know if you guys missed this happening on X, but essentially there was this weird thing about Big Soda, like a debate that was taking place online. I didn't wade into it at all because I just thought it was ridiculous. But people were saying, and this is a part of the Mama campaign, that people that are on food stamps should not be able to go out and buy Coca-Cola and buy Pepsi and buy junk food. Essentially, if we are paying for you, meaning us,
I guess I could just work here.
are paying for your welfare programs, why are you buying things that you desperately need? You don't need soda. Obviously, you can drink water. And people were going, oh, well, that's ridiculous. They should be allowed their food stamps to get whatever they want. And then it was determined actually that Big Soda, like the corporations, funded influencers who they thought the public trusted to kind of backdoor their perspectives in there. So Big Soda paid for people that are allegedly independent voices to influence people by saying, no, this is the government overreach.
My hatch is cracked.
Should be able to drink their
the corner of it
and their Pepsi. And
it's not the top part, just around the framing. It's cracked, like someone stepped on it and then just threw up some putty.
But I knew because you just see things and they all sound like the exact same messaging at the same time. And sometimes it's an attack on an individual, sometimes it's an attack on a policy or a perspective, but the words are matching up too much amongst various influencers.
Yeah, I'm gonna caulk it to get the I'm scraping off old caulk and I'm gonna recaulk around all the screws right now.
The company that is cutting big checks
and then around the seam itself.
On behalf of Big Soda. Over the past 48 hours, several large, supposedly MAGA-aligned influencers posted identical talking points.
You want up here?
To them, convincing you.
Let me get you way up here. Hold on.
Make America healthy again. RFK Jr.
I don't know if you can get up here, Mama.
Not wanting soda purchases with food stamps, the SNAP program. Some even slimily invoked President Trump. This is going to be relevant when we get into Jessica Reed House, as an emotional manipulation tactic, referring to his Diet Coke button. Not a single one of them disclosed that they were being paid for these posts, which led readers to believe a general soda ban was in the works. Before many people panicked, why can't these people drink soda? And they didn't expose, and these are accounts that have huge followings, Eric Doherty, Clown World, Not Jerome Powell, and Ian Moss-Chong, which everybody always knows that he's like a prostitute. He does, and that's kind of been known for a while. Some of those people are very well trusted, so I was very surprised to see this. And essentially, he goes on in this thread and he writes, these influencers
Sorry, Mama.
couple templates used by Influenceable with one of those templates specifically telling them to mention Trump's Diet Coke habit. This was done to invoke an emotional response from loyal Trump supporters, making them feel as if banning soda from Snap would be anti-Trump. This is an
He just
incredibly
wants out of
dirty
there,
tactic
and he's
meant
not
to
allowed,
manipulate
so
loyal
that's his
followers. And
issue.
he showed actually what was sent around to these influencers. He went on and said influencers were texted by Influenceable, so they signed up for Influenceable to make money, telling them to, quote, help push back against government overreach, and told that they're being paid between several hundred and even $1,000 for each post, attempting to turn MAGA folks against RFK Jr. and Maha. So you get the picture here. This is obviously a huge operation that he exposed here, and I want to be clear, I'm not even throwing dirt on the people who engaged in this, because then some of them came immediately forward and said, I did do this, I felt like a dirtbag, and I want to come clean immediately. We can show some of the tweets. Eric Doherty right away said, yeah, that was dumb of me, massive egg on my face. In all seriousness, it won't happen again. So he's like, you know, I used my social utility, the social credit that I had, in a way that wasn't great, and people have, obviously it's fractured his trust with people, but it also kudos to him for like instantly owning it right away.
So
when he got
bad.
caught. However you feel about it. And another user, Clown World, wrote, I made a post and deleted it within the first hour. I withdrew from the campaign entirely and removed my post. I haven't received a single penny from Big Soda or anyone else for this. Just to clarify, this was never a Big Soda campaign. It was strictly a campaign against government overreach. Okay, but who's paying the $1,000? Who knows? You get the point here. So it led to a larger discussion about these influencers who have gained trust in the public market, in the public sphere. Substack that she sent out, a newsletter that she sent out, in which she called out and she called out
Put that spray stuff somewhere underneath that spray. Orley, cut it out!
So it just didn't register as authentic to me, and it wasn't like I didn't say this house of habit must crumble, but I was like, I would watch this because something feels off.
I'm gonna have to wait to caulk until it dries out later.
I had noted the background, and my PR agent went to work with her, went to go grab dinner or lunch with her and Olivia Nuzzi, and he said she was telling him that one of her reporters working on a hit piece on me. So she didn't release the hit piece, but then kind of released one of her own. Sometimes felt like she was actually trying to divide people and was trying to pretend that this was just some stuff that she happened to notice, okay? I thought that was going to be fine. You write a newsletter about me, I didn't respond. It went absolutely psychotic thereafter. When I mean like psychotic, I mean like the motley sleuths are at the edge of their seats, under dryers in the nail salon, in the hair salon, talking about this back and forth that never needed to happen because I don't know what she was doing last night, but she probably should have turned her phone off. But I just wanted to show you first this mommy salute because I got such a chuckle looking at her under the dryer as she's speaking about this feud between me and House and Habit. Take a listen to this mommy.
Oh, the drama. I mean, our mamas used to watch their stories during the day on TV, like, oh, days of our lives, but we're just over here eating Trader Joe's gummies and watching real Candace Owens. Good stuff.
So yeah, she accused me, and this is Jessica Reed Krause, who I've never had an issue with, I've never spoken about. I literally have no issues with this woman. So this is why it was just so random. But after I responded to her newsletter about me, she first accused me of picking a fight with her for drama and clicks, as if I was not literally responding to her newsletter that she sent. Then she shifted gears last night and tried to big time everybody and said that she was too busy shadowing Trump to even respond to anything that was happening. And that was really strange. I don't know if we have that screenshot, but she basically was just like, I don't have time for this. I'm shadowing President Trump. And I was like, okay, that's totally fine. But that's a weird vibe to like try to big time people and pretend like you don't care what's going on as you're writing about what's going on. Then she became increasingly more belligerent and hilarious as the night went on. And she just randomly claimed that Trump blocked me, which was total groundbreaking news to me. I don't know if you guys have these Instagram stories, but she wrote this to me in my DMs. You're lamer than I thought. It's embarrassing. No wonder Trump blocked you. Like, I have checked all of my accounts. Trump has not blocked me. I don't know what she is talking about. Like I said, that would be groundbreaking news. She should give that to the news stations. If she did block me, someone should investigate that. Fine. And at like 11:30 p.m., she shares that with her audience that a White House source just
Orly, cut it out, dude.
banned from the White House because of my anti-Semitic stance. So you're going, okay, first you're writing a thing.
Seriously?
Saying that my content is
Buddy, come on.
copying you.
Read the room. I'm on the roof.
Weinstein series is not interesting, and you've been repeatedly.
Buddy, I'm on the roof right now. Can you please just chill?
And that they shouldn't be watching my content.
You don't need anything.
Years, you just call me an anti-Semite. So everyone's just going, what the heck is going on here? Also, it's 11:30 p.m. Like, there should be no White House sources sending you anything right now. I don't want that on my tax dollars. If you're paying for this, I don't want this happening. Okay, you guys don't need to be sending tea at 11:30 p.m. I'm not paying for this to House and Habit.
Orly, stop it. I'm on the roof, buddy. I'll be done soon. Just cut it out.
Laughing at all this in the background because it was just so petty. It was also stupid and genuinely like I really care about doing like the JFK files and getting into the Harvey stuff. I just don't care enough to get caught into like petty back and forth feuds and calling each other names and accusing people of trying to copy your brand. I literally had no idea who she was a couple of months ago. I am glad that she has a platform. Every person should have a platform and be able to cover whatever it is that they want. And then she just attacked me personally and lied publicly to all last night. Absolutely nothing my family. She lied and said that I had a MAGA-themed wedding. So this was in addition to her being like Trump blocked her, and that's sad. And she goes, I assume that's probably very frustrating for someone who got married in a MAGA hat. Now she intentionally blurred that photo because it's a lie. I did not get married in a MAGA hat, but that is a photo from the after party of our wedding, in which we gave out party favors to commemorate our wedding night because we did get married at the Trump winery. It was absolutely a beautiful place, and we had a special flag made, a Union Jack, and a combination of Union Jack and an American flag, and on the side of a hat that said "Make weddings great again," and not "Make America great again," so that people would always remember our wedding and the after party, and that's something that is a very fond memory. Again, I don't know why she's suddenly attacking me and my husband.
Because you're talking about Jewish people, Candace.
She was going to
Or I'm not Jewish people. You're talking about Israel.
secret hidden wealth.
Calling out Israel for the hand that Israel has had in all of our fucking
I
issues.
conspiracy. I love a story. a chance that there is like a Princess Diaries arc here for me, I am here for it. Like if there is a chance that I am the Princess of Genovia, which I was sharing on my stories, and she knows about some grandma that I have, and I'm about to go take over a kingdom, please know that I am not trying to hide that. I will flex that. Like I am like I don't want my extreme wealth to be hidden. I want to flex it. And so she wrote, "It's laughable. No one trusts you. Keep up with Harvey and Tate and Kanye. Great company." And I just wrote, whoa. What extreme wealth am I hiding? You got to do a Substack on that one because like, I'm interested. And also pretending to be a victim of censorship. I literally got censored off of YouTube. I got demonetized off of YouTube for 4 months last year. Like everyone saw that. So I just didn't know why she was being so snipey, why she was looking into my wedding photos, why she was creating
Because
a storyline about
she is a hired gun.
Was laughing. Like I was not taking this backboard seriously. I just assumed maybe she was having a few too many drinks somewhere and like she just wasn't seeing clear last night and it could have all been forgiven in the morning. Then she did accuse me of pivoting my brand. Like in the DM, she was like, you're pivoting your brand. Everyone can see it. So she thinks that me covering Goes Lively is me stepping on her territory, which is so strange because I promise you I have been covering culture my entire career. And also we are way too old. I think she's in her mid-40s. I'm 35 years old. We are way too old to be
Damn, this thing is fucking busted up bad. Damn.
Just the whole thing to me was just not something that was serious or anything that was hurting me. I'm just not insecure about any of these things that she was saying. Anyway, she wakes up this morning and like I said, I thought she was gonna be like do something funny, drop a Morgan Wallen song last night. We let the liquor talk. Say she had too much to drink and she was sorry because everyone's obviously reading the DMs and going, wow, you seem really catty and nasty. You're attacking her for the wedding. You attacked her in a newsletter. Like, where is this coming from, Jessica? You say that you left the left and now you're a conservative, but you're kind of behaving a little bit
lefty,
you know, like a mean girl, like lively vibes, like Ryan Reynolds took over your phone trying to be like big time people about President Trump and making them feel like they're left out, where I'm like happily putting my children to bed. I've been there, done that, got the multiple MAGA t-shirts, and she didn't do that. She woke up and in her clarity, she kept lying. And this is where I kind of thought, okay, this is tripping over into something else now. Now this is not like maybe she's at a dinner and had a few too many. This is like she is choosing to intentionally lie and sneer and trying to just see the public with this idea.
Sounds like a defamation case.
I'm the mean girl in all of this who randomly attacks
So
women.
gross.
And she began with one of the wildest lies ever. Like she literally pulled the Blake Lively lie by omission, pretending that I called Meghan McCain clinically obese absent any context. Like this was the story that she shared. She's telling me women need to be better. Meanwhile, she goes as low as possible when it comes to anyone she disagrees with. And she shares a left-leaning publication saying Meghan McCain responds to Candace Owens calling her clinically obese. This is exactly what we're trying to train the public to recognize, is that this is exactly an article that would go out typically, and they try to make you think that a conservative is a monster, because like, why would I just wake up one day and be like, Meghan McCain is clinically obese? Oh my God, poor Meghan, that would be terrible. But Jessica knows that's not true. She knows that it's the exact opposite, that actually for 3 years, Meghan's husband and Meghan have been attacking me, and it all stems from the fact that Meghan was going after anti-vaxxers and people who were uncomfortable getting the COVID vaccine, and she was basically calling them stupid, deluded, saying that they were taking horse dewormer. She was attacking Joe Rogan, and I basically said to her,
so bad, it's all wet in here.
Control. Like, people should not be taking health advice from Meghan McCain over Joe Rogan. That is a rational thing to say back to someone who is pretending that they've suddenly, I don't know, been transformed into...
The tree fell on my bus and totally fucking hit here.
And some people have dedicated their entire lives to health. She wrote this on years ago. I can't believe Meghan is still in the background of all this. This is 2021. I am no doctor, but it just seems way easier and more efficient to just get the vaccine rather than bleed out your anus, getting a horse dewormer, and taking 9,000 other random prescriptions and things from CVS and Trader Joe's. So I have been mama before it was cool. I definitely, people who are health conscious don't just randomly roll up their sleeves and get toxins in their arm and think that that's going to save them or make them more Joe Rogan was doing by having and fostering these conversations about alternatives to when you get COVID. One alternative, by the way, was not being clinically obese. Staying healthy, obviously, we knew your chances of getting sick, more sick with anything when you're clinically obese, is going to be magnified if you're
Candace Owens
carrying around that extra weight,
podcast.
whether it's a cough, a cold, or COVID. And her husband was gloating about how he has hated me for years, and I responded to him and I said this to her husband. He wrote, "I don't understand her defense at all. Seems like grasping at threads. It's not news that I despise Candace. I've been criticizing her for 3+ years. She's been attacking me for 3+ years." I respond and I said, "Despise? LOL. You're a 42-year-old married man. Why do you feel this passionately about me? The feeling is not mutual. You are too pathetic to despise. You're upset because when your wife was publicly shaming anti-vaxxers, namely Joe Rogan, for not receiving the COVID vax, I told her the truth. No sensible person should be taking advice from a clinically obese woman over Joe Rogan regarding health. Health is not a clinically obese person who is going to rush vaccine because he lectures others on Twitter. Joe Rogan dedicates his life to health. Your wife does not." So when you have the full context of this back and forth and you realize, no, actually Candace was standing up for anti-vaxxers at a time when we were just being bludgeoned over the head by the mainstream media, bludgeoned over the head by neocons, bludgeoned over the head of people who were trying to essentially force us to get a vaccine that we weren't comfortable with. And then you see the White House now just presents it like it's randomly attacked a woman and called her fat. That's dishonest. Because she's engaging in dishonesty. And it's not the only time that she has done this. And the more that you look into it, and at this point, people who worked for her recently quit, who are reaching out and saying, yes, she does engage in this sort of a thing. She pretends that she's totally neutral and that she's independent, but behind the scenes, she's friends with Meghan McCain, and she finally owned that today. And Meghan McCain was very keen to see this hit piece written about you, and so she began working on it. She had one of her writers working on it, and then she began working on it. And so I find that to just be a bit slimy, and I don't understand what I did to deserve this, other than cover Blake and Justin Baldoni. I did not cover the people who were covering them. I covered the facts of the case. I looked into the case. And another thing that she hasn't been telling people is that she's influencing people not to look into our Harvey series, which is explosive, because she has a personal relationship with one of the quote-unquote victims who just had that decision overturned by the appellate courts, Jessica Mann. So she's been pretending to be a casual passerby. Oh, there's nothing that could get me interested in this case. When in reality, she is the most interested person in this case because she covered this when she was a left-leaning, liberal, high on feminism person. And she defended the victims. Not only did she defend the victims, quote unquote victims, but she also lived with one of them, Jessica Mann. So our last episode was entitled Jessica Mann and the Premier of the Why did you call it a series? And I was named Jessica Mann. So the truth is because House and Habit came to us, and I thought we were friendly and cool, and she said Jessica Mann would like to connect with you. You know, she wants to either. So I thought this was like an explosive revelation. I thought she maybe wanted to come on the show. I wanted to provide her an opportunity to assert what her side was, because I'm relying off of court transcripts and I'm reading things and I'm reading her emails. But if she had something else to add, I wanted to be a fair journalist. Like, I'm not here to make Harvey Weinstein look innocent. I've reviewed the documents and I believe that Harvey Weinstein was wrongly convicted, despite the fact that he's an immoral man. I believe he had consensual affairs. And so she got me to suspend this series because I did not know that she had a personal relationship with Jessica Mann. I thought Jessica Mann just reached out to her in the random because she knew that she was a reporter who had covered the case, which I did not know. And I thought she was bringing new information to me, only for me to discover that, no, she has a very personal relationship with this person, which she never told me. And she also never explained in full to the people that follow her. So she has a horse in this race, okay? And that's fine, by the way. I don't mind if you have a personal relationship with Jessica Mann. I don't mind if you believe that Harvey Weinstein should be locked up in prison. That means that we have a difference in interpretations of this case, and that should actually foster an even more interesting conversation. We should be able to use court files and be able to try to persuade the public one way or the other with the truth regarding the transcripts. Not trying to tell them, oh, I'm so bored, as she was doing. I wouldn't even look into this Harvey case. you are being influenced by someone who has a horse in the race, right? So this is what House and Habit is showing herself to be. And I think the worst bit that she did, and Skylar, I don't know if we pulled this, but her attacking preemptively her best friend of 14 years, who I mentioned no longer works for her. I said she no longer works for her, and the girl blocked her. And that's all I said. And House of Habit then, I think, assumed that her previous best friend of 14 years, whose friendship she just ended, must have given me information on her. No, I didn't ask for information about House and Habit, personal information on her. I'm not interested in that because I'm actually not a mean girl. And she launched a preemptive attack on her by writing one of the nastiest things that I've ever seen on Instagram, essentially alluding to the public that that girl has basically should be put on a Psych 5150 hold, that she's crazy, and that even her kids know it. And she's like, and I'm only telling you out of compassion, for her kids. That's not what you're doing. You're not doing it out of compassion for her kids. You're doing it because you're trying to discredit anything that girl may have said about you, which she actually didn't. And it got even nastier behind the scenes, right? She was talking about this girl, Denise, who she's been friends with all over her Instagram account for years. And then she sent my PR, my publicist, something that was so unbelievably, remarkably personal about Denise and her family and her children that I was legitimately horrified. And I literally said to my PR agent, shut that down immediately. I want nothing to do with that. The fact that she would send this to what she believes to be an adversarial PR person casually about somebody's family on a whim because she thinks her best friend betrayed her and she didn't, makes her somebody that no one should entrust with anything personal about them. Truly. Like, that was for me when it flipped from like, haha, I'm making fun of her because she's being a little unhinged, to like, there is something very wrong with this person, and I would strongly recommend nobody share any personal parts or details about their lives with her, because that's just not something that ever needed to make its way into the fray, into the public fray, or what could have made its way into the public fray if I did not have better morals, all because of a newsletter. Like, that just was not necessary. Everything was light, and then suddenly you're like really going after someone who did nothing to you in the dark. Like, her friend said nothing, said she was mourning the friendship and that she stopped working for her. And that's what I shared with the public. I did not say anything else or indicate anything personal about you or ask anything personal about you, because it's not necessary when you're dealing in truth. And so I just wanted to say that, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. She's now trying to shift gears here and pretend that she's my savior. Like, she stopped the hit piece about me that was going to be written about Andrew Tate, while she's also sharing stuff about me and Andrew Tate. So it's none of this is making any sense, but I do think that it's always a reminder to just kind of reevaluate what you're doing, who you're hanging out with, and to remember that even people who claim to be independent are not always independent. You don't know who's influencing them, whether it's Meghan McCain, whether or not it's money that's coming in from advertisers. And I have always been extremely honest about who pays me. You know who my advertisers are. We're like Good Ranchers, Reborn, this is what we're doing. And there's no shady money. And if I have a conflict of interest, I always immediately tell on myself, because I think that's easier. I think it's so much easier to say, hey, I am friends with so-and-so, and so my opinion is colored, okay? Yes. And I don't feel that I can look at this situation evenly. But on regards to Harvey Weinstein, in regards to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, I feel like I have looked at all of those situations extremely evenly, and I think that the public is seeing that as I go through these court transcripts, that I'm really trying to just remain totally focused on the facts in these matters without the hysteria and the tears of movements and social justice movements that come around once in a blue moon. So I bid House of Habit luck. I never told anybody to unfollow her. I understand she is blocking everyone, and she's accusing us of not being able to take any criticism while proving the opposite. But I did not like the move against her friend Denise. I thought it was one of the nastiest things I've ever seen in politics, and it was completely unnecessary. So she has lost my vote of confidence, and I'm not telling you whether or not to trust her or not, but just simply giving you guys what the facts are. okay?
Yeah, if he has
And
something
yes,
to
she
chew
was
on, he
also
might
one of
leave
these
me alone for a
influencers that
little
came out with the
longer. I only got
Epstein
about 10 more
binders.
minutes or so, but
You know, when
I don't have
everyone
to climb
came
up and
out
down
and
up
said,
and
we
down.
have it on Epstein, which I'm not taking shots at these people, actually. I love Mike Cernovich. No one has done more work for the Jeffrey Epstein case than he has personally in the back there. DC Drano has always been fantastic to me. That's Rogan.
You gonna get
Liz
your
is
bone?
also
You want
been
your bone?
lovely. I'm just saying that, like, this was an opportunity where people
You want your
were
bone?
attacking all of these people,
want
and
your
I never
bone?
took the bait on any of that. And so it just seemed really weird. All of it just seemed extremely weird coming from her, and I don't know what or who exactly is behind it, but I'm guessing we are going to find out. Anyways, you guys, let me speak to you guys about Preborn. Speaking of people who do sponsor this show, I've told you many times about Andre Bocelli, Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, Tim Tebow. The thing that they all have in
Thank
common
you.
is that their mothers were encouraged
I
to
know,
end their
isn't
pregnancies.
it?
These people would not
The
exist
biggest
if they
chunk
had
I've ever
listened
seen.
to
That's
the
why I
people that
bought
were
it. It was
around them.
30
Women, when they
bucks.
face an unplanned pregnancy, are often pressured to end the child's life.
I know,
And
I've
because they
never
want to make
even
the right
seen one on
choice,
a
they sometimes
fucking
do
deer
that. But
that big.
society and those around her are telling her, the
Oh,
baby's
is
not
it?
alive, so that's
Probably.
totally fine.
Oh.
That's where the Ministry of Preborn steps in. Preborn and the network of clinics offer compassionate, loving care to mothers
It
and the
won't go
support
all
that
the
they
way
need
down.
to
It
help
just,
them
like,
choose
rests
life,
gently.
including a free ultrasound. Because once a mother hears her child's heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. So
Go
if you
get your
consider
bone.
yourself
Where's
pro-life,
your
it's
bone?
time to join forces with
Where's your
Preborn,
bone?
because together we can empower those women to choose life, because empowering the truth of motherhood can transform a family and their future. One ultrasound
Yeah,
costs
can
just
you take some?
$28, and $140 will help to rescue
The
5
black
babies.
one is
When you
the
donate
one that
monthly,
lays
you'll
the
receive
blue eggs,
stories
and the
and
brown
pictures
one
of
is laying
lives that you help
speckled
to
brown
save. To
eggs.
donate, you just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's
If
pound
you-
250 baby, or donate
Oh,
securely
she's
at
not a black,
preborn.com slash
she's not
Candace. That's
the
preborn.com slash Candace. Also, if you are feeling buried under credit card bills, personal loans, or medical debt, and if you feel like your money is working harder for your
I don't know
lenders than it
nothing
is for
about that.
you, it does not have to be that way, and you can change that with PDS Debt. PDS Debt does more than just help you manage your debt. They empower you to take control. You use their platform, and they will go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation, plus craft a personalized plan designed just for you. So there's no more cookie cutter solutions, just a clear path
if the
to
eggs are
financial
in that
freedom
thing
that
like
fits
they
your
are,
lifestyle. And here's the best part,
or
there is
out
no
front
minimum
in
credit
that
score
thing,
required.
you
So
can
whether
take-
your
you can
credit is
take all the ones
bad
that are
or
in that bowl
fair,
if you want.
they are here to help you save
Actually-
more, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money back
Yeah,
where
no,
it
no, no. You can
belongs, which is
take the
in your
ones that
savings
are,
account.
if you see them on
Getting
the front
started is
patio
so
or
easy.
anything,
You
that
just
means
go
they're
to
up for grabs.
PDSdebt.com/Candace to complete
But
your free
those
debt
are just in the
assessment
bowl
to see
right now on
what
my
options
cabinet,
are
but you can
available
take them
to
off
you.
my cabinet.
Every day you wait, it costs you money. So get started with your free debt analysis in just
Yeah,
30
thank you.
seconds at PDSdebt.com/Candace.
Yeah, it's gonna be my
That's
next thing to do after I finish this. Just didn't want to do it yet.
PDSdebt.com/Candace. PDSdebt.com/Candace. Take back control. PDSdebt.com/Candace. Okay, now I want to dive back into this JFK thing. I wanted to do an entire episode about this. Like I said, we got sidetracked because I couldn't look away from the house and habit stuff. That wasn't even my drama. I'm telling you, it's not even my drama anymore. I will find out whether or not I'm the Princess of Genovia, and she will write a Substack, and you guys will share it, and I will be on my way, and I will never talk to any of you guys again, because that's what it means. When you find out you're a princess of a kingdom, you don't have to deal with stuff on the internet anymore, okay? I'm no longer doing hood rat stuff with my friends. I'll be fancy schmancy with and singing songs with Julie Andrews, and I'll be the alto, and she'll be the soprano. But where I left you off on, which was funny because we actually didn't even get to the JFK files. It was just kind of this mind-blowing article. And it was crazy for me when the JFK files were released. And you had people kind of trying to influence you, like, not to look at the files. And what's weird about the JFK thing is, like, everyone kind of knows who did it. Like, everyone knows who did it. We all know who did it. And we all know why we're not allowed to know who did it. Like, officially know who did it. I'm just saying. We like know who did. We know. Okay, but it's crazy. I don't know. Then we're just not allowed to say it, and it's weird. It's getting weird. It's getting weird out there. And so I was telling you guys about this article that I had come across, which was crazy, by John Loftus, who was writing for Ami magazine. It's literally an Orthodox Jewish magazine. You cannot call this anti-Semitic. This guy used to work for the state, had to write this book, The Witness Tree, which someone has sent to me, by the way, as a PDF. I have not been able to get into it. I wanted to this week, but obviously was very sick for 2 days. I'm going to get into it because the way that they don't want anyone to have this book. I got an email from someone saying they bought the book and then found out that it was canceled and they're not allowed to get the book. So this book is being hidden, and the guy who wrote this article said, yeah, the CIA don't want this one read, even though we pretended that it was fiction, and he got that visit from Mr. Reuven Shiloah. I've been calling him Shiloah. It could be Shiloah. Who knows? It's a fake last name. That's the important thing. This is the guy who was running point for things before Israel became a state, and then established what would become the Mossad. But like, you know, the Mossad before the Mossad was the pre-Mossad, right? So you're a gang, and then you go mainstream and you're the Mossad. And the story that is shared in the witness tree, which he summarizes in this article, is insane. Somebody in the comments saying, what's that book? It is called The Witness Tree. People are saying who they know did it. Yeah, we all know who did it. We all know who did it, but we're not allowed to say. I don't know why. It's crazy. Anyways, this confirmed our suspicions because this guy, like I said, was working for the government. He knew that this story was real because Reuven Shiloah came to see him, the founder of the Mossad. I don't know if this was like on some, like, I just want to, like, for my legacy's sake, want people to know what's what. Reuven Shiloah actually kind of died mysteriously quite young. And that's why later on, his son Dovey pays John Loftus a visit. So he saw Reuven and then he saw his son, and both of these people were involved in the state of Israel. And he tells us this unbelievable story, which I'm going to recap again, that involves the Dulles brothers, right? And the Dulles brothers being Alan Dulles, who goes on to become the CIA director, who was a thorn in JFK's side. JFK forced him to shut down after the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion, when we were just doing what the CIA does, overthrowing governments because what the hell? I don't know. We just say we are fighting for democracy, but in reality, it kind of sounds like if we're constantly overthrowing democracies everywhere from here to Ukraine, like maybe we're not actually fighting to spread democracy. I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Anyway, so this guy tells a story about how Reuven came to visit him, and he found out that the Alan Dulles brothers were the best in the game. They had all of these fake shell companies, and they were sitting Prescott Bush, which would be Amy. George W. Bush's daddy, not the junior, but George W. Bush's daddy, I'm coming, Prescott Bush, on the board of all of these shell companies to hide the fact that they were selling oil to Hitler. Like, this is the Rockefeller family wanted to hide the fact that they were selling oil to Hitler. So you got Nelson Rockefeller involved in this. You got the Dulles brothers involved in this. And you have the notorious, obvious, Eleanor is their sister, who becomes this really big, unexpected figure in this storyline. The story goes that Ellen, which he briefly touched upon, Ellen married this Jewish guy. This Jewish guy committed suicide. She blamed her brothers for bullying him because they said that they were really angry that she married a Jew because they were doing this shady business with Hitler. So they were like rah-rah, you know, hoping that Germany won. And she was just messing with their swag. It's like, no, you can't like be married to a Jew right now. Like, this is just not good for our swag. And that he was so horrifically bullied by them that she blamed them for his suicide. So then I went to look deeper into just that part because that was interesting to me. And the story was shady. Like, trying to look into the suicide story was shady, foremost, because it was just extremely difficult to find any information on it. Like, it just should have been so readily available on Wikipedia. But now we know Wikipedia, they're doing some stuff there. And I was like, that feels weird. Anyways, I was able to find it on a Jewish website. Essentially, Eleanor Dulles, the deeper story here is Eleanor Dulles was in Paris when she met and fell in love with a Jewish man named David Blondum. And she fell in love with him when she was researching for the French franc for her doctorate in economics. So she was doing some research overseas in Paris. And he was similarly in Paris, also researching the vernacular French of medieval Jews. Okay. Now, they got married in a civil service and then eventually in a more formal service that was conducted by her minister brother-in-law. David Blondum is what I would describe, as I was looking into him, struggling to find enough information, I would describe him for, at that time, as quite a modern thinking Jew. And what I mean by that is that he didn't really subscribe to the Catholicism. He didn't believe, obviously, that Jews should only marry within their race. And one of the things that's kind of left out is that Eleanor gave statements saying how shocked she was by his suicide. You know, they're married for 2 years, and then Sylvia Plaths it and like sticks his head into a toaster and kills himself with carbon monoxide. Like, he literally gasses himself to death, and that was kind of random. And I don't know, like, was he killed? I couldn't tell you. I find the entire thing to be very interesting, because when I dug deeper into the story, he was also being bullied by Jews. He was being bullied by Jews because his marriage was seen as problematic by his place of employment, and they forced him out. He was the secretary of the American Association of Jewish Research, and they were not
little steps.
with his theories and things
Hey, there's
that
little
he
steps
believed
there
in
now.
when it came to actually kind of this cross nuclear reactor. And then we learned that Lyndon B. Johnson was quietly helping them to get weaponized, so he was being undermined by his own VP. Is just stunning. With communist ties, his family came here after, as I explained to you, the 1848ers, studying the 1848ers and the communists that then all came to America and settled in the South, is crucial part of the American education that you aren't learning. And speaking of the American education system, what did Rockefeller own, right? So we often talk about now how our medicine became radicalized. You know, the FDA is behaving
one thing
like
it
a
could
mafia,
get caught on, it will.
alongside people who
Every
are just
time.
bought and paid for and
Every
blackmailed on the Hill.
Every
Well,
fucking
Rockefeller was early medicine. Rockefeller was early
Okay,
public
what am I
public
doing?
education and textbooks. But when did American education begin going downhill? Well, now we can plot that on a map, right? Because we know that the Rockefeller family created the General Education Board that was incorporated by an act of Congress way back in 1903. I don't think anybody would say like American education system started going downhill in 1903. I don't think anybody would make that argument. But John D. Rockefeller Sr., there's John D. Rockefeller Sr., then there's John D. Rockefeller Jr., and then you have Nelson Rockefeller. So by the third generation, the Rockefeller family gets blackmailed. And I would say about around the third generation time is when our education started changing from actually wanting to educate people to wanting to brainwash them. And people have always said the Rockefeller family, but who was behind the Rockefeller family? And that's why this article is so crucial. John D. Rockefeller Sr., way back in 1903, committed $1 million to that establishment of a general education board, and then contributions grew. But was he actually trying to harm America? Or was he actually interested in trying to help educate America? That's what we have to start re-exploring under the lens of recognizing that down the line, his bloodline got blackmailed, and they were no longer working for the American people. In my view, I believe that this article shows that they were working for Israel. And this kind of explains a lot of the perspectives I didn't know why I had growing up. And I've talked about this a lot on the show and have had a lot of shame. And I shouldn't have a lot of shame because we're all part of the public education system, and they decide what's in our textbooks, and we get to look at our textbooks and see who prints them and you know, what hands are being exchanged and who owns all these publishing companies. And we're going to get deeper into that.
Is it working now?
Looking into all of this stuff. But I did feel a lot of shame for realizing how quickly I became Siliputty and believed in all of this brainwashing and the hatred that I had, which I've expressed because I feel like I came out of that web. Like I had this natural hatred
seated
in me for Muslims.
And it's
so crazy because I shouldn't have hatred towards any group naturally seated inside of me. Like I never felt that way towards Jewish people growing up. I never felt that way against other people growing up, but I did feel this way towards Muslims growing up. And that shows you that people understood how important the education system was early on. And it became like Soviet conditioning. When you think about Soviet conditioning, that brings you back to the other pieces that we never learned about in school. The Bolshevik Revolution. What happened to all of the Bolsheviks? Okay, these people committed more heinous crimes and killed more people than Adolf Hitler. The single biggest person, nobody knows his name, Henryk Yagoda, the mass slaughter of Christians in the Ukraine. And nobody knows about this. The average American public education certificate holder would not know anything about this, and that is extremely problematic. Everyone uses an Adolf Hitler reference. No one uses a Henryk Yagoda reference, and that's problematic. And the answer is, it is just a fact that Israel has protected people who committed these crimes, these Bolsheviks, that they went on to become people that were protected by the state of Israel. And that's why it's so important for us to speak about this, because I feel that not speaking about it has allowed for a lot of hatred to be thrown at Jewish Americans who have never even stepped foot in Israel, that have nothing to do with this, who have been subjected to the exact same education system that we have been subjected to, right? Who have triggers that are completely understandable in the context of the things that we have learned in school, who have fears that are completely understandable in the context of things that we have learned in school. And until we sort of dilute and pull apart this foreign state, okay, that has amassed a lot of political power in America, and separate that entirely from Jewish Americans, I don't know that there is ever going to be an honest discussion or a resolution that is happening. And it's not going to happen via censorship and duress and threats and mean tweets by House of Habit, like calling people anti-Semitic and banned for fostering these sorts of conversations and looking into things and being interested. It's only going to happen with daylight and truth. And I really do always believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. But I just kind of want to talk about that briefly, and to tell you that somebody sent to me and told me that Shula's real last name is Zelensky. And I looked into that, and I've always felt weird about President Zelensky. It's very difficult to find pictures of his mom and dad, just like falling down the Emmanuel Macron hole. It's just so difficult, guys, for us to get a mom and dad for all of these presidents around the world. And yes, it is a fact that Reuven Shula's real last name, there's a few of them, but Zelensky, okay, and then Zaslani is another spelling of it. And I find that to be incredibly compelling, because it says on his Wikipedia page, oh, his dad was like a big rabbi in the early Palestine territory who wrote books. I can't find a single name of any book that this rabbi wrote. What name was he going by? I can't find. How can you be this big influential rabbi and I can't find anything on you? So I'm asking the public, what can you find on Reuven Shula's father? And what can you find on President Zelensky's father? Do we have to start mapping this out? Who the heck is Zelensky? And also fascinatingly, Reuven Shula, he was a drama theater kid. I thought that was fascinating, okay? He was trained in drama theater because they thought it would help his political ambitions. And he then went undercover in the Middle East, pretending to just be like a Hebrew teacher, but he was a part of this like early Mossad movement as they were kind of getting ready, leading up to this desire to establish Israel as a state. And the more I read about him and the Mossad and what they were doing in that region, the more I feel like a lot of the scales are falling from my eyes. And so I just find that interesting. Like, it could be that Zelensky was really just a really popular name in Lithuania. Sure. But I would like to just close up that end by being able to find out like who his siblings are and who his dad is. I feel like that should be a pretty easy find, not just like, here's an honorable mention of President Zelensky's dad, but like also, yeah, let's pull this up. You've got Reuven, totally made up last name, born Zelensky. But then also, could you pull up for a second, like President Zelensky? Yeah, so that rabbi, actually stay here. The Rabbi Aaron Yitzhak Zelensky, who is a native of Lithuania, one of the rabbis of Jerusalem, studied at this school in the city. It's one of those things where you think you're getting a lot of information and then you jump off and you try to find anything about this guy who was allegedly this big rabbi married to Sarah and would have been one of the earlier settlers, and you just fall down a hole. You just fall down a hole. And then you realize like his son also changed his name, and there's just a lot happening in this intelligence community that makes me question things, And so I would like to know a little bit more, and I'd love for you guys to try to be able to help us find those things. Also, wanted to add a couple of more tidbits of why the Rockefellers being blackmailed is incredibly important. They were also the people that created the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. Nelson Rockefeller did that when he then went into government, okay? This would have been after the blackmail in November of 1952. This would have been in President-elect Dwight D. Eisenhower asked Nelson to serve as chair of the President Advisory Committee of Government Organization. as the chair, one of the things that they got done was the establishment of the Department of Defense, the Department of Agriculture, and also the Office of Defense Mobilization. So this proliferation of government and realizing that you had Nelson Rockefeller, who had those influences, who then gets blackmailed in the 60s is crucial. Or not in the 60s. He would have been blackmailed if this was how Israel became a state, so 1948, and understanding that he was blackmailed before that, before he engaged in all of this, becomes crucial. And then we get Dwight D. Eisenhower then warning us that there's this kind of military-industrial complex, kind of this ghost operating into the background. All of this stuff is extremely important. And yeah, we gotta be able to think while we are still allowed to think about these things, as I always say. And that's kind of my interest in the JFK files. We'll keep going on this. Somebody is in the comments saying you should bring in Ian Carroll. Yes, I absolutely loved the episode between him and Joe Rogan, contrary to how House and Habit felt about it. I felt it was really exciting to hear people think and speak and not come up with, perfect conclusions in the end, but are at least feeling the confidence to be able to ask questions and to notice that some things are off and really wrong. And namely, it's our education system and everything that we've ever been told about anything. It feels like we're coming out of a period of extreme gaslighting by the government and the media. And I intend to take opportunity in that and think while we're still allowed to. All right, guys, reminding you about Tax Network USA. The IRS is, of course, the largest collection agency in the world. And with April 15th fast approaching, it's more aggressive than ever. In 2025, enforcement has ramped up. And if you owe back taxes or you have unfiled returns, waiting is just not an option. The longer you do, the worse it gets. Ignoring your tax troubles is the worst thing you could possibly do. Getting ahead of this now is the smart move, but never, ever contact the IRS alone. Instead, let the experts at Tax Network USA handle it for you. Not all tax resolution companies are the same. Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS, meaning they know exactly which agents to deal with and which to avoid, with proven strategies to settle tax problems in your favor. So whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, Tax Network USA attorneys and negotiators have already resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. So talk with one of their strategists today because it's free. You can call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Candace. That's visit tnusa.com/Candace. Also, interest rates have dropped, so it's time to take advantage of that via American financing. A lot of Americans are struggling to keep up with their everyday bills, eggs, coffee, and you're reaching for their credit cards to pay for those things. So if you're a homeowner, interest rates have fallen into the fives. That's nearly a quarter of the average credit card rate. American Financing is helping homeowners like you save an average of $800 a month by tapping into your home's equity and wiping out high interest debt. And the best part is there are no upfront fees to get started. Credit card rates are insane, and if you're carrying a balance every month, you are probably stuck in an endless cycle. So break free today. Call American Financing and see how much you could be saving. And if you start now, you may even delay the next 2 mortgage payments. Call 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. That's americanfinancing.net/Owens. All right, we are already at an hour. I want to get to some of your comments really quickly before we jump off here. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. 2 very kind of maybe little related comments, I think, to topics that are kind of related, right? We're talking about the media as an organ. Who do you trust? What do we trust? Laylee writes, my toxic trait is I just wait every day for people to mess around and lie against Candace so she can just nuke them with screenshots, receipts, and the truth. Fools. This is real journalism. That's what really kills me is all of these people I'm just very nice to. So it just seems so petty to me that they take these avenues and they attack me, and I just go like, why? This is the reason I only hang out with my toddlers, by the way. I've had my fill of politics a long time ago, and you see it over and over again. Like, people are fighting for what, like, home is where your heart is. It is not at the White House. It is not shadowing Trump. It's with your kids. It's with your husband. These are the best days of my life right now, And so it just seems really catty and really weird. And I don't know, I guess more will come out. A lot of stuff is coming out right now, but it definitely registered as odd to the public because it was odd and it was unnecessary. Zade writes, Jessica Reed Krause, if you're reading this, just know that we all know you're extremely sick with mind viruses. Always have your back, Candace. Thank you for always having my back. And genuinely, I was laughing through it last night. I was not stressed. I was just like, this is crazy. And I really thought she was going to wake up and be like, you know what? one glass too many of wine and everyone was going to laugh and she was going to make a couple of jokes and be like, that was stupid. Sorry, let's get back on the program. But she kind of just kept digging herself further into a hole and was just getting like nastier. And it was necessary. Alexandra writes, what are her ties with Ghislaine and Jeffrey? She poked the wrong bear. That's another thing. She was a part of the Free Ghislaine Maxwell movement. So it's rich that she's coming after me because I looked into Andrew Tate's Romanian case and said there was not enough evidence to bring forth a trial. And then what happened a year later was the Romanian courts agreed with me and said there was not enough evidence for them to go forth with a trial. And they sent it back down to the lower courts. So I don't know what my crime exactly is there, other than reading court documents, which I think everyone is allowed to do. And regarding the Harvey series, yeah, you better get started, because if she's starting all of this over Jessica Mann, it's probably worth looking into the series to see what she didn't want you to see. Because if she defended that girl, I don't know. I haven't looked into her previous reporting because I'm actually not copying her, and someone contacted me about the Harvey case. But that is something. I do not take Jessica Mann as an honest individual. Amanda Pichardo writes, House and Habit says she has Scorpio tendencies, demonic. She's just manifesting right now, and we rebuke this in Jesus' name. Yeah, also some of you guys shared with me that she's called Olivia Nuzzy fat. Now they're friends, and that she did this whole Substack where she just was calling her big boned and fat. And that was fine, I guess, on her Substack. And then she tried to pretend like I randomly attacked Meghan McCain, who still is reeling over this one tweet that I sent. Her and her husband have never stopped. And I'm not taking it back. I do think people should take advice from Joe Rogan over taking advice from Meghan McCain on health. I don't think getting a vaccine should make you a person who is allowed to snipe at people for exploring other health options. Like I said, I was Maha before it was cool. I was definitely Maha before it was cool or relevant. Abigail writes, I don't know how you do this, getting attacked by petulant children nonstop for years. I would have lost my mind long ago. Nobody has thicker skin. Thoughts on the Pete Hegseth texting scandal? Yeah, that was embarrassing. There's no other way to say it. It was embarrassing. If it had happened on Biden's side, we would all be mocking it. And yeah, it's just totally crazy. Obviously, if someone did that in the office, and you would have had to have checked that a million times to see who was on that thread. And they've got a bit of egg on their face, and they have to deal with that and confront it and say, this was a huge mistake. We regret it. To err is human. So is it, oh my gosh, Pete Hegseth is? No. By the way, I can tell you, just as I know him privately, Pete Hegseth has always been exceptional to me. He has always been so kind, and I really do wish him the best. And, it sucks when this stuff happens because people that hate you love it, and you feel embarrassed about it, and it doesn't make you feel great. So that's all I really have to say about that. Sis Halliday says, Candace will go down as one of the best independent journalists of our time. Yeah, and let me tell you, if somebody does start paying me, like Iran or Qatar, you're going to hear from me first here. I'm going to read an ad and be like, this is Qatar. If Jessica finds out I'm a Qatari royal, I am so out for my oil money. It's stupid how out I am. And at least you guys know that I'm so 100% that
The internet might stop working for a second. Here. Oh, I'll put it by your food, you idiot. Chicken! Come on, Chicken! Come on, chick. Dude, go get your fucking worms. I caught all those worms for you. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go get them. Go get them, Mama. Oh, she sees them. Are there worms there? Go on, chicken, get them. She's eating the grain. This bird. She's eating the grain. Oh, she got a worm. Hello, Meow. Come on, Chick Chick. Oh, there's a big honking set of turd right there. You better go get your food, girl. Okay. Okay. Gotta get all the laundry for the dogs. I don't know why I didn't set my phone down. Whoa. Tripped over my foot. God damn it. I've been doing that a lot lately, tripping over my own fucking feet. It's really annoying. Like my foot literally gets caught behind my other foot. Okay. All right, I got the bus roof covered. Okay, yes. Good girl. You know, I had to come back in here. There's some rags I need to wash. And the windows are open. This has to go right here to catch any water coming straight out of a giant hole in the ceiling. Ridiculous. There. All right, I got two rag. Cleaning rags need to get washed. Dirty cleaning rags. Oh, not those, not with the caulk on them. Has it got caulk on it or no? Good. All right. Dirty cleaning rags. Got. And I have to try to back out of. He like had some concrete delivered, and it's been delivered like after I pulled up. So now I'm like might be stuck in the driveway. I'm gonna find out. Okay, so now I have to take all of the stuff I've thrown out of the back of my bus and put it in the back of the truck. So I guess let's start by just making a pile. That makes more sense. Oh, that's laundry. I hope you didn't throw away that bag. So, I really hope Adam didn't throw that garbage bag away. He threw my bag of laundry away. What is this? This feels like garbage. That feels like garbage. It is garbage. It is garbage. Okay, so this fortunately actually happens to be garbage. Right? Yeah, it is garbage. It's a garbage bag with soft things in it, so I thought it was not garbage. Whatever, I'll throw these bags in the back of my car too. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna try maybe to move my truck. So we'll see if I can't move my truck real quick. Be right back. The towel died. Oh no, Candace just went off. government is retarded. Yes,
Our
it
goal
is.
is to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion. So from a nominal deficit of $2 trillion, cut the deficit in half to $1 trillion. Or looked at it in total federal spending to drop the federal spending from $7 trillion to $6 trillion. We want to reduce the spending by eliminating waste and fraud, reduce the spending by 15%, which seems really quite achievable. The government is not efficient, and there's a lot of waste and fraud. So we feel confident that a 15% reduction can be done without affecting any of the critical government services.
I'm going to talk to all the guys.
It's not making it better.
That's probably true. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like this is probably true with almost any company,
just don't
especially
worry
nowadays
about
with
anybody
technology.
else. Just
That
don't
you
worry about
probably could
anything
cut
else than what's right in
15%
front of
of the
your
spending
face.
from a lot of companies and probably still make the same product.
And talk to
I mean,
all
look
the-
what they did with Twitter, right? They cut it by 80% and they still made the same product. And I think it's better now.
Guys hear about the specifics, but for you, what's the most astonishing thing you've found out in this process?
The sheer amount of waste and fraud in the government. It is astonishing. It's mind-blowing.
Not
We
to me.
routinely encounter wastes of $1 billion or more, casually.
Oops.
For example, like the simple survey that was literally a 10-question survey that you could do with SurveyMonkey, cost you about $10,000. The government was being charged almost $1 billion for that.
For doing a survey?
$1 billion for a simple online survey. Do you like the national park? And then there appeared to be no feedback loop for what would be done with that survey. So the survey would just go into nothing. It was like insane.
You technically are a special government employee. And
Everybody says he's lying. It's not true. Guys, do you really think that they're not retarded? Of course they are. Of course, absolutely. It goes without saying.
you're supposed to be 130 days. Are
Yeah.
you going to
Probably
continue
worse.
past that, or do you think that's what you're going to do? Or
Well, I think we will have accomplished most of the work required to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion within that time frame.
so in that time frame, 130
Yes.
days, and the process is a report at some point at 100 days, or
Not really a report. We are cutting the waste and fraud in real time. So every day that passes, our goal is to reduce the waste and fraud by $4 billion a day, every day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
And so far, we are succeeding.
and I'm going to talk of the specifics, but there obviously are Doge critics who are reading all kinds of stuff. Obviously, lawmakers on the other side of the aisle are attacking you, and they characterize the approach as this: fire, ready, and then aim. And how do you approach that? How do you respond?
People always make arguments for, like a system and like this system needs to be done. The reason why is that the system is created to protect them. They've created an apparatus that basically allows them to never have to make any changes and never be held accountable by anything, because they've created so many different levels of red tape and overlapping government apparatuses that it's almost impossible to dissect all of it. That's what happens. And you see this, like, how many of you guys have been in a company where there's been like some sort of obfuscation mechanic where there's no way for you to really figure out who's at blame, and the product suffers in the long term because of that? No, I think that's what's happening in the government too, because that's what happens everywhere else. The hogs are mad the trough is getting smaller. Yeah, I think so. Every company I work at, yeah. Accountability becomes adjudicated to an abstract department. Exactly, yeah. And people, like, one thing that people are terrified of is direct personal accountability. And also, the main thing that highly skilled, highly motivated people want is direct personal accountability.
Did that.
Well, I do agree that we actually want to be careful in the cuts. So we want to measure twice, if not thrice, and cut once. Actually, that is our approach. They may characterize it as shooting from the hip, but it is anything.
Mistakes happen, right?
We don't make mistakes. If we have a process with the standard of making no mistakes at all, that'd be like saying someone in baseball's got to bat 1,000. So what do we do?
Of course. There's people that go to jail all the time because for crimes they didn't commit. All the time this happens.
What am I doing?
That doesn't mean that
Forgot.
we just don't put anybody in
Oh, yeah.
jail. like every rule and every law is going to have bad outcomes. That's just how it is.
Mistakes we correct
All right,
quickly.
let's get you some fan action.
It doesn't mean you can't do it.
Some people
Oh,
say
I'm so ready to be out of this
rocket
clusterfuck.
scientist. Steve Davis, you are a rocket scientist. You used to be. Yeah, and now essentially you're the chief operating officer of Doge. Day-to-day
So this is the
operations.
guy. Is
Fair
this
to
big
say?
balls?
Yeah, part of the Doge team.
So how did you end up here? What's the biggest challenge you see?
The reason I'm here, which is probably for many, is that I think the goal is incredibly inspiring. I think most of the taxpayers in the country would agree that in order to have the country going bankrupt would be a very bad thing, and therefore the country
I
going
would say
not
so.
bankrupt is a good thing. That all of us are willing to kind of put our lives on hold in order to do. I think the thing that's special right now is we actually believe there's a chance to succeed.
I feel like, I mean, especially for me, I mean, growing up, like the government wasting money was like the most common meme in like TV, movies, everything. Like, I don't understand how we can have a culture that's made jokes and just acknowledge that the government wastes money frivolously constantly. And now we're supposed to act like, oh, wait, no, never mind. No, they don't. Yeah, 2 years ago, people were doing that. Yeah, exactly.
There's an administration that's supportive.
It's been known for so long. Yeah, it's
and
obvious.
A great cabinet and just a great group that will actually make success a possible outcome. And I think that's, given the inspiring mission and given the non-zero chance of success, it was worth doing.
Yeah.
I'd just like to sort of re-emphasize that point. The success of Doge is only possible with President Trump and with the outstanding cabinet that he selected. It would be impossible without the support of the president and the cabinet.
But you're finding the money. I mean, it's
Yeah.
big numbers, right?
Yeah, like Elon said, the minimum impulse bid is often $1 billion. So, for example, the $830 million, which was the online survey, that's an enormous amount of money that wouldn't have been found if the Doge team wasn't working with it, in that case, the Department of Interior. But then taking it one step further, Doge then publishes these things on our website for maximum transparency. So now the general...
I think you need to go farther. If there is a group of people that are being paid $880 whatever million for doing an online survey, you need to look at who made that call. You need to look at their relationship with the company that was given that contract, and then you need to like order audits of these people's financial tax returns. That's what needs to happen, because like the moment that you start doing that, I think I know what's going to be on those tax returns. I think I know what it's going to be.
Somewhere.
I think everybody does. It's not true, though. Well, if it's not true, then the audit wouldn't matter, right? It wouldn't. I mean, logically, right? That would be it. So yeah, and their families, exactly. Yes, and people that are in their family and around them too. Yeah, 100%.
public, it would have been impossible for the general public to have seen that. Now anyone can just log into Doge.gov anytime and see these payments. As they're not yet in real time, they're close, but they'll probably be in real time within the next few weeks.
But the process, it still involves Congress, right? At some level?
They still won't put them in jail. So why does it matter? In my opinion, I think we should put them in jail. This is my opinion, is that if somebody is found to be embezzling money or doing something that's like quid pro quo with the government contracts, I think that they should go directly to jail for like 5 or 10 years. And if they're taking money off the top and there's no justification for it, yeah, because like that's the way that you stop people from doing this. The big problem is that, and you're right, the big problem is that nobody ever faces personal accountability. The moment that personal accountability is applied to individuals is the moment that this immediately goes away. And this is also the reason why it happens, is because, again, these people's actions are obfuscated through like so many different levels of like government apparatus, red tape, that nobody can ever be held accountable or held to a fault for this. And I think that's the problem.
Congress as informed as
Make
possible.
an example out of them.
But,
Yes, exactly.
The law does say that money needs to be spent correctly. It should not be spent fraudulently or wastefully. It's not contrary to Congress to avoid waste and fraud. It is consistent with the law and consistent with Congress. And we've seen actually great support, at least from the Republican side of the House, and occasionally some Democrats too. It's nice to see people cross the aisle once in a while.
Never even heard that happening before.
Usually when they attack Doge, they never attack any of the specifics. So they'll say
Yeah.
what we're doing is somehow unconstitutional or illegal or whatever. We're like, well, which line of the cost savings do you disagree with? And they
Yeah.
can't point to any. And we list them all on Doge.gov and the Doge handle on X. And you'll see just outrageous things, one outrageous thing after another.
Joe Gabbia, besides Elon, you're one of several billionaires here, co-founder of Airbnb, and you wanted to help out.
That's my fucking towel.
I bumped into Anthony and Elon probably back in February, and they told me something about a mine that was dealt with retirement, and they said they needed somebody to help out to fix retirement in the government. I love the challenge, so I jumped on board, and it turns out there is actually a mine in Pennsylvania that houses every paper document for the retirement process in the government. Now picture this giant cave. Has 22,000 filing cabinets, stacked 10 high to house 400 million pieces of paper. It's a process that started in the 1950s and largely hasn't changed in the last 70 years. And so as he dug into it, we found retirement cases that had so much paper, they had to fit it on a shipping pallet. So
This is so fucking retarded. Why would they do that? Yes, I don't know. How is this happening? Oh my God.
process takes many months, and
It's
we're gonna
not
make
funny?
it just
No.
many days.
Will it be digitized or how?
Absolutely. So this will be an online digital process that will take just a few days at most. And I really think
Wait, what? So they're just going to feed it through a machine that just automatically transcribes it digitally. And it'll take a few days and that's it.
Want an egg?
This is
Oh, he's
crazy.
fucking running for an egg.
he
knows
it's
what
an
an egg is.
injustice to civil
Oh my
servants
God.
who are subjected to these processes that are older than the age of half the people watching your show tonight.
Come on. Inside. He loves his eggs. Good boy. No dog poop on the feet. Good, good, good.
By paper, literally with people carrying paper in manila envelopes into this gigantic mine.
So they can't retire more than a certain number every month?
Yes,
About 8,000 a month.
that's how we do.
Ooh, clean.
So there's a mine that has all of the retirement paperwork in it, which is a problem logistically because only so many people can get into the mine at a time. And so they can't retire everybody that's working at the government because that many. Remember what I was saying before about how like this is a Russian nesting doll of like government apparatuses and red tape? Like this is what I'm talking about. This is something that only a person at the government can imagine. Like a normal person could never even think this up. But a government employee, this is second nature. Well, of course.
The reason we discovered it was we were saying like, well, let's encourage voluntary retirement. So, well, the most they could do is 8,000 a month, and even under normal circumstances, it can take 6 to 9 months just to have your retirement paperwork processed.
It takes 6 to 9 months to process paperwork. What? In week 46 to 47, what happens? You know, or week 23 to 24, what are you doing in the weeks between 23 and 24 to make this happen? I wonder. This reminds me one time my dad, we went to KFC. My dad and I went to KFC. The year was about 2006, 2007. And the guy, my dad likes the pot pies from KFC. And the employee there told my dad that it would be an 81-minute wait in order for my dad to get his pot pie. Because it would take 81 minutes for them to get the pot pie ready. That's right. My dad did not like this answer. The next moment, we're talking to the manager. The manager gave my dad 5 or 6 free coupons for KFC after that. And he brought my dad out the pot pie in about 6 minutes. Directly to our table. Interesting. That's right. I remember this very clearly. And so the employee get fired? I don't know. And so I've seen this happen in real life. And so when I hear this, I immediately believe it. And I know some people, you shouldn't believe this, they're lying. I don't think they are. I don't. Everything that I know about dumbasses in positions of authority and administration, guess what's happening right now? You're on speaker.
That wasn't the only time you witnessed that kind of shit. That is why, part of why you're like you are. Because I'm such an asshole.
That's right.
You get so embarrassed, and you still do. You still get so embarrassed when I jump in somebody's shit and I insist that I see the manager, and then if I don't get it from the manager, I say, okay, fuck you.
It's fucking raining. I got that shit done just in time.
I'll be talking to him. And when I had my tranny blow, I think it was a transmission, on my 88 T-Bird, with a 5-liter in it.
Yeah.
And so about I went out and spent like $800 getting it rebuilt.
Yeah.
And so about a month later, I get a letter from Ford, and it's a grommet, a grommet.
Is this the one where you went all the way up to the vice president of Ford?
Yeah, I was in my office at work,
Yeah.
And a grommet, for you guys, just so you know, some of you don't, it's kind of like a washer. It's a fitting that on tubing or pipe.
Right.
And
yeah.
Because the power the auto transmission line, the line that has these fluids.
Well, it didn't work, right? It didn't work. That's the point. And so,
just because it sagged,
yeah,
it sagged down a little bit. They fucked up, and so I called up Ford, and I said, "What the fuck is this?" I had to already pay, and they said, "If you don't do this, what may happen is," and exactly what happened to my fucking transmission.
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, what the fuck?" And for the first, you know how I am about the first couple of people, I said, "Listen, I know you're hired to be a fleck, and I'm sorry you got a shitty job like this where you got to really take the hits. So, let me help you here by not beating the fuck out of you, but you give me your boss, and I'll beat this guy out of you." Finally talked to a fucking vice president at Ford, and I said, "Okay, what the fuck is this?" I buy Fords, I'm a Ford guy. And he said, "What's your name?" And they got my name and that, and I got a check in the mail. He said, "Will you send me the receipt?"
Yeah.
I didn't have a receipt because this guy had done it.
Dad, you're rambling.
He doesn't. He has his own garage, fixes up his own cars, and he's kind of informal. So I said, "We'll just make something out."
I can't wait to make something out of
It was
this.
like a piece of paper,
Well, this is going off. This is going off the topic because
I see you go on for much longer than this on just some fucking obscure point on a game, and then add in a couple of anecdotes about it. So just chill your fucking ass for a minute. I'm just finishing up. And so I sent this into them. Hey, they buy it. And one of the reasons I'm talking about this so much is do that. Do that. Say, you know, if you get shit service, somebody fucks up. I think I told the story of the guy that was in front of me at the 15 or less line in the store, and he's got like 25 items, 30 items. He's fucking shopping for the, you know, for several people. And I got like 6 items. Person behind me has a couple. Person behind, like, and so when the gal started to check them out, I said, "Wait a minute, oh, hold it." And I looked at the guy and I said, "Did you go to school? What does that sign fucking say?" And he said 15 items left. I said, "Does that look like 15 items on you right there in front of you?" "No." "Well, yeah." And I said, "It's not." And I said, "This is less than 15 items." And I said, "You're checking me out first before you check him out," to the gal. I said, "I'm sorry. I know you're, you know, this is embarrassing. It's tough for you to deal with. If you'd like, call your manager over. I'll explain this to him. And I'll find out why the fuck I gotta be in the express lane behind some fucking asshole." And so I got my order. She put my order through, right?
Yeah.
And this other guy, he's a young guy, you know, kind of well built, but I don't give a shit. I mean, everybody responds the same way to a kick in the balls, a kick in the knee, and a kick in the face. And I wear my boots, so you know, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then I turned around to this Mexican lady behind me. I said, "Come on, bring your stuff up here." And she, you know, she doesn't want to start any shit, you know, or anything.
Okay.
Do it. And I waved through about 6 people. I stood there and waved them all through. And I said, "Okay, you can have your turn now." And then I walked out of the store.
All right.
And,
When was this? This was like last month, right?
yeah, I was going to say, this
There it is. I found the leg.
history. This is
Yeah.
about a month ago.
Okay. Well, I got to get back to the video, right? It is.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to get that in.
All right.
And cook a minute.
Okay.
It just, you know, got a little boost here.
All right.
Yeah, so it's not. And so.
All right. Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you later.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be coming over later.
All right.
All right. Yo, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
I'll probably call in again maybe later.
Okay, great.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yo, bye.
Yo, bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there it is. And no, he's done that so many times. I'm very conflict averse. Like, I am like hyper conflict averse. And so anything like that is like just completely like, I just do not deal with it at all. Yeah, that's what I mean. Anyway, we'll get back to it, okay?
Circumstances, it can take 6 to 9 months just to have your retirement paperwork processed. And they often get the calculations wrong.
Right.
So we're like, well, why would it take so long to retire? And they're like, well, because of the mine. And they're like, what do you mean a mine? What's a mine got to do with retiring? And that's where we discovered the...
See, this is the thing, right? This is always... You know what this is like? This is like video games, where it's like, oh, well, we can't let people... You have to farm out this item in order to get this energy thing, in order to get this other item. Well, have you ever considered that maybe you can just give people the item directly and not have to have this secondary system? And so this is the problem, is that these people are so captured by this like bureaucratic fucking weight. And it's the same thing. I think about it in video games. It's in companies. It's in the government. It's everywhere. And so this is what happens with everything. Like loading the stashes. Yes, exactly. Think about it in Diablo 4. This is exactly it. They have to render everybody's inventory. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. So the big problem that a lot of these people have is that the focus they have is on this ridiculous shit. They're not even thinking about it from the right perspective.
All the retirement stuff is still done by paper in a process that looks identical to what occurred in the 1950s.
Yeah, we can't do more retirement processing because there's a mine that we put all the information into, and we can only, like, what do you, like, this is like a gotcha game. Well, we created this problem, and so now it has to be like this.
Pretty snapshot of the mine when it first started in the 50s to today, it looks the same.
It's amazing. So how long do you think it'll take to turn over?
We're working as fast as we can. Probably next couple of months we'll have this overhauled. And, I really think, again, why are we subjecting our federal workers to processes that they actually have to go through a training just to retire from the government? There's a whole training program that people have to go through in order to retire. I think we can do better for them.
All right, tomorrow laundry.
This is the work of a council of Karens. And everybody knows it. This is what it is. It's a bunch of people, and their job is to ensure that they continue having their job. That's it. What the fuck are they training for? I don't know. This is it. It's crazy. The government jobs are trained for time. This is outrageous. What are they training about? I'm so confused. Probably how to figure out all the paperwork. Probably.
Moganasi, Doge engineer. You go into these places, one of the more than a dozen engineers, first people to go into the agencies and view the computer data sets. Tell me what you're finding, and for people who don't understand how that process works, explain it for them.
Yeah. I'll say the first thing that got me really excited about Doge was learning basically the state of government computers. By some
Don't tell me that it's on XP. Don't tell me it's on Windows XP.
Estimates, government IT costs about $100 billion, and it's funding systems that are over 50 years old.
Bro, XP is like...
Oh yeah, there's a lot of
new.
spots that still leak. I have
That's
to completely reseal the entire roof.
The case of something like Social Security or the IRS. So really critical systems are old. They cost a lot of money to maintain, and
look what I made.
Could be the efforts to improve them are often very delayed. So I thought I'm a software engineer that maybe could make a difference here, and that's really what inspired me at a high level.
So he got inspired because of how stupid it was. I could see that.
History about Social Security, and a lot
It needs my
of
boobs
words
to fill it
about
out.
Because I bet there's a lot of guys that it's like
But I'm
you
wearing a bra.
have the chance to finally fix this massive existential problem. I bet they have so many people that are probably signing up to do this basically for free. They're like, finally, somebody's going to do something about this. And I've got to tell you, I think that's pretty fucking patriotic. It is.
Democrats
Yeah,
have been
but
saying
you
about
also
it.
think
It's
Ukraine
absurd
is the
that
victim.
Elon Musk is trying to eliminate billions of dollars from Social Security.
Elon Musk and President Trump have set their
Bro.
sights on cutting Social Security.
Their goal is clear. Destroy Social Security from within.
You're in the building. I mean, you're in the computers. What's happening there? What are you doing?
Yeah, it doesn't line up with my experience on the ground, and
It's bullshit. The reason why they're saying that, it's the same as like, do you remember when Trump said he's going to cut the Department of Education funding, but they're not going to cut support for people with special needs? And then all the people on Twitter and like other places were saying, I can't believe Trump wants the special needs students to die. It's like, you didn't even listen. You didn't even pay attention. They don't think, yeah, they're just lying, bro.
I'll say the two improvements that we're trying to make to Social Security are helping people that legitimately get benefits, protecting them from fraud.
They're still saying that? Yeah.
That they experience every
You're
day.
back.
on a
Yeah, it's all hyperbole and lies. Exactly. And once you understand that their entire messaging system is just like, let's exaggerate and misrepresent something in an intellectually dishonest way and hope the stupid people that watch us believe it. That's the entire strategy. That's it. That's what they do.
team basis, and also make the experience better. And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information.
Yeah.
So when you want to change your bank account, you can
Let me
call
guess. Now there's going to be an online system that you can do it instead, and that way you don't have to call them.
Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%.
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say, they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change
Social engineering.
where money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day, and then.
Oh, do not redeem.
And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security, it's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
How do you reassure people that what you all are doing is not going to affect their benefits?
No, in fact, what we're doing will help their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of Doge, will receive more Social Security, not less. I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of Doge, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
So what he's saying is that Doge is going to cut Social Security for all.
Into their online accounts.
Democracy dies in darkness. Man,
Freaked people out. Is it?
we got to get these theater kids off the fucking internet, man. We have to take, like, if you're a theater kid, you have to work at the like a salt mine or something like that for like 3 years. You know, you got to work in a coal mine for a while.
Is that going to change?
Yes, we're going to make sure that the website stays online.
Yeah. I mean, but is it a result of going in there or something you're doing?
No. The amount of issues that were the Social Security system are enormous. As an example, there are over 15 million people that are over the age of 120 that are marked as alive in the Social Security system.
And that's an accurate figure.
Yes.
Correct.
15 million.
Correct. This has been something that's been identified as a problem. Again, pre-existing problems since 2008 at least.
Oh, God. Wow. Who made this problem? I wonder.
From an IG report. So there were some great people working at the Social Security Administration that found this 2008, and nothing was done. And so 15 to 20
So they tried to fix it, but they
million Social Security numbers that were clearly fraudulent were floating around that can be used only for bad intentions. There'd be no way to use those for good intentions. And so one of the things the Doge team is doing is carefully and very methodically.
And also, by the way, if 40% of their calls are fraud calls, 40% of the calls wouldn't be fraud calls if these people weren't getting paid out. Just think about this for a few seconds here, right? Like, if you've got all of these people spamming this, there's a reason for it. That makes sense. Yeah, of course.
Looking at those and making sure that any fraudulent ones are eliminated.
Brett Smith, working at HHS, and obviously another element is Medicare and Medicaid, NIH.
Oh, they're going to cut that.
What do you find?
And they're going to kill all the old people.
Well, I'd say there's a couple of things we're really committed to in our work at HHS.
Yeah.
Number one, making sure we continue to have the best biomedical research in the world. And number two, making sure, which President Trump has said over and over again, that we 100% protect Medicare and Medicaid.
So they're going to cut Medicare and Medicaid. They're going to get rid of it. That way old people die.
Of opportunity. So if I take
And
NIH
poor
as an
people
example,
die.
today, if you're an NIH researcher and you get a $100 grant at your university, today you get to spend 60 of that, and your university spends 40 of that.
What?
NIH as an example. Today, if you're an NIH researcher and you get a $100 grant at your university, today you get to spend 60 of that, and your university spends 40 of that. The policy that we're proposing to make is that you get to spend 85 of that, and your university spends 15. So that's more money going directly to the scientists who are discovering new cures.
Seems good. Yeah.
Another example at NIH is today they have 27 different centers. They got created over time by Congress, and they're typically by disease state or body system. There's 700 different IT systems today at NIH.
What? 700 different IT systems.
IT software systems.
They don't
They can't
communicate.
speak to each other.
So they don't talk to one another.
They have 27 different CIOs. And so when you think about
Let's go home. Let's go home. Come on, Piggy. Come on, Piggy. I'm gonna come back right for you, Orly. Hold on.
These people are making the Bible real. They're rebuilding the Tower of Babel. Mac versus PC times 27.
Come on, inside. Rocket.
Well, this is why, guys, this is why we have the mine. Is because all the paperwork is in the mine and we can go there for sure. Do you see kind of how these problems, like, it's basically like you have a house of cards and they hold each other up, but none of these cards should fucking be there in the first place.
Okay. I'll be right back. Hold on. There you go, guys. Okay. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm not forget about you. I'm not gonna forget about you, my boy. Good boy. You better get the tablet. Good boy. Good boy. Dude, he loves this food. This Badlands Ranch superfood. He freaking loves it. He freaking loves it. Okay, everybody gets one too. Rocket, is he such a good quiet boy? Oh, that's so yummy, isn't it, Rocket? Dado. Pigoletta. Rocco. Teeter. Dado. Pigoletta. Oh, God. All right, let's roll. So, I gotta go to the dump. And, I should probably bring my little money. Uh-oh. Oh, good girl. 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 Oh, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Oh my God, I thought I lost my fucking money. All of my money just now. That was terrifying. I have to go buy insulation. Some money in my spending pocket. And I'll put some money in my savings account. Oh, I could wear a vest. It's pretty warm. I want to remake this vest out of a smaller fabric. This one's thinner. I'll wear this one. All right. Let's go measure. Please, just carefully, just go down. No, please don't drop everything. Please. Just go into your little corner. There you go. Can't get out the door. Stay. Okay. That's done. Locked. Go to the bus. Find the measuring tape. And measure the depth. I can't reach. I'm gonna try. There's yesterday's coffee. I wonder if that's still good. You should get your loops. Before you go into town. Ooh, I left the back door wide open. Came in here to close the window, left the door back open. Back door wide open. So glad that I caught that.